Hi, and welcome back to Dirty Barion's Garage. So today, we just buttoned up that echo trimmer and everything. We have a bad storm coming up through here. It's going to be ice and all that nonsense. This generator, it belongs to one of my good friends. We've been talking about this job for over a year now, and he just today got it going, got it here, and we're hoping to have it done in order for before the storm hits. So we're gonna have to get jumping on this one. But we have a UST 3500 watt. You know, it's got the little looks to be a one of those little Honda clone engines or whatever. I don't know the exact horse. We'll look at that afterwards. But anyway, he sprayed this thing with ether. It starts right up. It won't stay running. So your typical generator, it's been left with bad gas in it and everything. So we got to tear the carburetor apart on this unit and get it up and running again. So, you know, things like this I like to do, because that way if you have them done, you don't need it. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to set this thing in the garage. We're going to get the heat going, and we'll tear into this carburetor. Oh, guys, sadly the storm beat me to this job. We got some snow coming in. It stopped snowing. Now it started raining, that's going to form into ice, it's going to be crazy out here. I'm going to try and get this job done in time, but it's almost unlikely that he's going to be able to pick it up anyway, because he lives a little ways away. So basically, I'm just praying this doesn't turn into a major thing and we start losing power and everything, because I'd hate to see one of my friends lose power, you know, and not have a backup. But anyway, so what we got, the heater's doing everything it can to keep up in here today. It's pretty chilly. We have a Venling Ginseng or something to that effect. I can't really pronounce the name. 196cc, 6.5 horsepower. I gotta have this thing on the floor right now simply because I don't have anybody to help me lift it up on a stand. So I'm not gonna film taking a carb off, but all you really got, you're gonna have the 4 screws here. This plate comes off. You got 2 screws behind there. That's what actually holds the carb on. You got one in the very back here that holds that bracket on. And then, I don't know how good you're gonna be able to see it. There's a slot in the linkage where you move it just right, and the rod will slip out of there. Actually, it's funny, this linkage on this carb's actually frozen. So we gotta get that unstuck too. But give me a minute here and we're gonna get this carb off, and then we will get it up on a bench and tear into it. As far as it looks, the tank was actually empty. I did put some fuel in it and everything, so hopefully our petcock's working all right, and our fuel line seems to be okay. So, but give me a minute. We're gonna get this carb off and we'll start dissecting it. All right, guys. So we got this carburetor off of here. Let's go ahead and tear into this thing, see what it's got to offer us. Hopefully it's not too bad. The fuel coming out of the petcock doesn't look all that bad, so I think we just may have a little rust in the jet. And hopefully this is a nice, easy fix. Of course, now that I say that, all right, well, that's good. The bottom of the float bowl doesn't look too bad. Trying to get that, there we go. All right, that's not all that bad. I mean, it's not the best, but that's nothing we can, a little bit of carburetor cleaner and some fine steel wool, we can clean that out, no problem. All right, we'll go ahead and see if this float will come out. Yes, it will. All right, it's always a good thing. Get our float and our needle valve out of there. What we got to do is get inside and get this jet out. That's going to be the fun part. Sometimes we get lucky, though. All right, yeah, it did. It actually came out. That's the nice thing about having the right screwdriver for the right job. This, you know, I bought that little cheap set at Harbor Freight, and that actually helped me immensely, because this is our whole problem right here, is this jet is not, doesn't want to, no. Alright. Alright, is that. Go ahead and there it goes. There it goes. Alright, here's our jet. Alright, jet come out in one piece, that's what I like. Now we just gotta get this emulsion tube out of here. Should follow in fairly short order. Really like to get that out of there, because that's gonna be part of the problem. Of course, it doesn't want to come out, right? Well, spray a carb cleaner. See if we can't. It's going to have some carbon and rust and everything else in there, so we're gonna have to work it a few times. We'll get it though. Basically a matter of just working it back and forth a few times. Give me a second here. This is gonna take a little bit of time, but I'll get that out of there and I'll show you that in 1 second. All right, so we were able to actually get the emulsion tube out of here. Go ahead and show it. Very hard to see, but we got a series of fine holes in there. We got to clean all those out. And for those of you that are new to the channel, I'm going to show you a Dirty Burning exclusive. We're going to go ahead and use a paper clip. This is just a regular paper clip. What I did on this, I grind the end down on the bench grinder a little bit. We make it a kind of a rough surface. And we're just going to go one by one with these holes. Put it in there. Of course, now that I have to do it, I can't. Yeah, like so. Basically, going to take it give it a couple twists on each hole. And then we're going to blast some carburetor cleaner and air through there. So your emulsion tube's going to feed air to your carburetor. Kind of hard to see right here. This is your jet. That's going to feed the fuel to the carburetor. Those two are going to mix the air and the fuel, which forms your vapor in order to, you know, feed the engine. Real simple. But we're going to do the same thing with a jet. We're just going to go ahead and put a paper clip in there. Twist it around a little bit. Give her some... this jet was plugged, by the way. But go ahead and give her a little carburetor cleaner. Followed by a little compressed air. You can actually see through the jet now, as you couldn't before. But I have to, this emulsion tube is going to take a few minutes to clean all the holes out and everything. We're going to do that. We're going to clean it up, and it's time for this carb to go back together. Here's your float bowl. I went ahead and ran a Dremel through it and everything. Got all the sludge out of there. That's good to go. On these float bowls, what I do, the bottom edge here, I'll set it on a flat surface, which is the concrete floor. Take a little, I usually take an extension and kind of just give it a couple lub taps. That way the end here isn't beveled in. So it's gonna go ahead and press your float bowl back up to the carburetor to give it that seal on the top like it needs. So there's another little tech tip for you. But give me a second. I'm gonna clean this emulsion tube up real quick. Actually, on the carburetor itself, you got right here, that's your air feed for the emulsion tube. So you do the same thing. Just run a paper clip through there real quick. And we're gonna blow some carb cleaner and compressed air through that. And that's really the end of it. That's all it's gonna take for one of these carburetors, and I'll have this thing running perfect. So I'll be right back. All right, so we got everything cleaned up. Nice. Our emulsion tube's all nice and shiny and spotless. Jet, same thing. Get everything done in the carburetor. So let's go ahead and zap this puppy back together. So you're gonna take your emulsion tube. You notice you got one end that sticks up a little bit. It's got a little flange on it. That's gonna go in first. Go ahead and set that in like such. It's gonna slide right in right now because we got all the junk out of it. And then we're gonna go ahead and put your jet in with the slot facing down, like so. Go ahead and screw it back in there. You'll feel it when it hits bottom. It's gonna tighten right up, like so. Just get real snug. You don't have to go crazy. These things are only made of brass. All right, so there's that. As far as the needle valve on a float, put a little Marvel. It's got a rubber tip on the end of it. I put a little Marvel mystery oil on it in order to let it soften up a little bit. In this weather, obviously, it's not going to help as much, but also what I do on these things as a precaution, I'm going to run some two-stroke fuel through it in order to not only help the carburetor and everything, but the cylinder as well and the valves and everything. First start, I don't know when's the last time this thing's been started. It's been quite a while, obviously, but there we go. There's your float. It's got a little spring on this one. It's real easy to, it sets up nice. You're gonna go ahead. So this float bowl, as you notice, it's got a drain on it. So that's gonna go. So here's your inlet for your fuel line. It's gonna go directly opposite of that. That way it's gonna be sticking out nice on the unit itself. You can get to it easier that way. And then we're just gonna go ahead and put this bowl, this nut back in here. Is that? All right, put that and put the socket back on the ratchet. And we're just going to go ahead and snug that down a little bit. There we go. And there you have it. We have one complete carburetor ready to go. Let's hope anyway. I don't think I'd mentioned it, but when I had I took a clear jug and I ran some of the fuel through the petcock just to make sure. Everything seems to be okay. So I think we're good to go here. So give me a second. I'm going to throw this carburetor back on. And we're going to fire this thing and see how it makes out. All right, so one thing I did fail to mention, a lot of these Chinese units, actually a lot of generators, you're gonna see some wires poking into the block here. This thing has what's called a low oil shut off switch. You have it, obviously have it filled with oil. It's actually got a float in the block. When that float drops too low, what it does is it shuts the ignition off to your coil. It grounds out the coil just like a kill switch would. So that's something you want to keep an eye out on any generator. I mean, these things are designed to run for hours on end. So you get one that's not starting, always check your oil. Make sure you got, you know, what it takes. But other than that, we are all back together. The linkage itself, it's kind of hard to say. It's working good. Got our air breather and all that. What I do on these, when I first put the carburetor on, I hook up the fuel line and put the petcock on. And that way, when I'm hooking up the rest of it, we can assure we have no fuel leaks anywhere, which we do not on this one. And like I'd mentioned earlier on that float bowl, you're gonna see the, you're gonna see your shut off, the drain right here. A lot of times people just drain that when it's sitting, but you can or you can't, it doesn't matter. But that's where you want that to sit. That way it's easy access. So this thing should be ready to start. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna set you over here on a bench and we're gonna try and fire it and see what happens. Hopefully we got a good one here. All right, so we're gonna put our choke on. Where is that? Right there. Put our power on. We'll see what it does. There you have it, folks. It's definitely going to run a little choppy at first. I'm not going to run this thing very long in the garage because I don't want to smoke myself out and everything, but that's something that hadn't been run in quite a while. And it does, you know, it's making power now and everything. You want to notice the heater is just about ready to burn itself out also. So we got this one just in the nick of time. So we have another success story here. I don't know that my buddy's going to be able to get this thing now, but at least we got it to the point. This is just the beginning of January. We have more ice storms coming, no doubt. The stupid caterpillar things are telling us it's going to be a harsh winter and all that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and now we can send the Ken Shig thing or whatever the hell is thing back to my buddy, and everybody will be happy. And you guys have a good one, and we'll catch you on the next one.